Hey everyone, welcome back to another Gundam review. Now, this kit I've been waiting for a long time. Now this is the Master Grade Gundam Vidar. Now this kit has always been a sort of kit that I've always wanted to get my hands on, and basically the closest thing I had at the time was the full mechanics, which I didn't really particularly like. But when this was announced, I was really excited. Now having this in hand, it feels like kind of taking a step back in time to when that first Master Grade Barbatos came out. And that was an amazing kit. So much so that I own 3 of them. Now, this kit follows a similar sort of structure that the Barbatos has, but not entirely the same, which is really cool, which adds to the fact that this is using the kind of Gundam frame in universe, but altering it to fit the Vidar instead, which I found to be just a really cool thing while building this kit, where I personally decided to go for building the inner frame first rather than going through and building the armor as it sometimes recommends through the manual. Now taking a look at the instructions, well, you get the beautiful image of the box art and a rundown of all the parts, and also just all the general stuff that you're going to be working on throughout the kit. And generally it's pretty similar to the Barbatos Master Grade, and I have heard a little bird say that we will be getting some news on maybe a Master Grade Barbatos Lupus later this year, which I am really excited for. Now this kit comes with a molded Alea Vignana Type E cockpit seat, which I think is a really cool detail and attention that they put into this kit, and the care, amazing. Moving on to the actual inner frame itself. Wow, just incredible. It's basically what you got with the Master Grade Barbatos, but you're also getting this different color to the inner frame as like this more grey than the darker shade that the Barbatos had. And some parts I did paint and paneline, but all in all, you're going to have a really nice inner frame with parts that actually are different for the Vidar specifically. Now, you will have a lot of leftover parts from the original IBO frame, but that's completely fine in case you want to use that on your Barbatos. Now, I want to actually take a look at the real kit itself. This, just wow. I love this kit. Honestly, one of my favorite kits in my entire collection. It just looks fantastic, and I feel like Bandai pulled some black magic out their hat to actually get this to look pretty much as close to the animation's just general aura as possible, because wow, does this look amazing and intimidating to say the least. So what I did is I panelized some of the blue parts and basically just went over some of the grayish sort of off-white color as well, to just bring out some of those really nice recessed details. And let me say, this kit, if you're a painter and you enjoy Gunpla, this kit is going to look phenomenal. As you've probably seen on social media a few times, there are some really good painters out there that have gone over this. Even the veneers in the leg are color separated, which is just phenomenal. And it really goes to show that Bandai have really put so much care and effort and attention to detail when building this Master Grade. When it comes to the feet, now that's a standout point. They have the gimmick that basically the Vidar has, where it has blades that actually come out of its feet as an offensive tool, and that's been engineered just beautifully. Man, I can't say enough good things about this kit. When it comes to Master Grades, I've got a fair bit of experience in the Master Grade world, but I'm always surprised with just the general sense of engineering that goes into these kits at Bandai. Like, I'm not sure who at Bandai basically designs these and makes them look just so amazing. And it just makes me wonder what the future is for the Master Grade Iron Blood Dolphins line. In terms of speaking about the articulation on this kit, beginning with the head itself, The head articulation is really good, allowing 360 rotation, and you're also getting 3 points of articulation when it comes to the head and neck. There is a hinge at the head that connects to a ball joint in the neck that is also connected to a C-clip at the base of the neck, which gives you a really good looking down and looking up motion, and the side-to-side tilt on the ball joint isn't half bad either. Moving on from that, the arms are really cool because they do follow a lot of the same structural engineering that the Barbatos used, but with the added benefit of using some really cool features that the actual Vidar had. Basically allowing the shoulder armor to move up and down, but also back and forward. Moving on from there, the actual hinge portion of the shoulder armor does allow movement outwards to further the articulation and the raising motion of the arm. It seems like you can get 90 degrees pretty easily, but in reality you can get way much more than that. From there, the actual arm itself is pretty much the same as the Master Grade Barbatos, with that being a really nice, deep, more than 90 degree elbow articulation, which also has that really cool piston feature that the entire kit has at certain points. And as you can see, you're going to get a really nice bend at the elbow with exposed piston, which I like because it helps to add that kind of real feeling to the machine as we see in the actual anime. From there, we're going to talk about the actual bicep, because the bicep does have swivel motion and it does allow a full 360 degree rotation, and you're going to get that in the wrist too because it has a peg. And from that peg you can also get a tilt backwards and forwards and up and down, which is really good because of the actual weapon that it uses, which is the burst saber. Now the hands are the swappable finger and articulated thumb system that modern master grades use, which I think is fine and is honestly my preferred form of hands. The cockpit area is also functional, allowing you to actually get a look within the cockpit and actually see Vidar. Now doing this is really easy as it's just a sliding backwards and forwards hatch, and you're going to basically get the guy inside there with the Ilea Vignana activated, not that you can really see it. Moving the arms out of the way, it's going to allow us to get a really nice sense for the articulation within the actual torso itself. Now when it comes to the articulation, the side to side pivot is really nice, and it doesn't really seem like it would be due to those pistons on the side of the chest, but they actually don't get in the way at all, as you've seen in the Barbatos itself. Now when it comes to the back arch and the front crunching motion, the back arch is phenomenal, and it's really going to allow some really dynamic posing, as well as the front crunch itself, which I personally like for when I'm posing my Gundam. From there, let's actually talk about the waist itself. The waist is pretty cool, where it's a simple build really. It's literally just a peg in a socket, which gives you all the range you're going to need really. Unfortunately, due to the actual armor itself on the front skirt and back skirt, they will sometimes clash, not allowing a full 360 degree rotation, which in my opinion is fine because it's not really necessary for the articulation for the waist to be 360 degrees articulated. But if that's your sort of thing, maybe a waist extension could be beneficial. Talking about the actual side scabbards, they articulate through a peg within the actual waist and a ball joint that is connected to the actual scabbard. From there, it allows you to get a 360 degree spin. Not that you can really do it because of the armor, but I think it's better if I actually just remove this, so it basically is a little bit easier to actually show you one of the cool features that the actual scabbard does have. And when I'm talking about the kind of construction of this, it was really fun to actually put this together because it was really well layered, and the articulation on the actual little side thrusters was really well engineered. But the thing that was really well engineered was the actual reloading mechanism to the actual burst sabers blades. The blades are stored in 3 little canisters within the saber. And basically what you have to do is basically put in the saber, and there you go, just like in the anime. Put in the waist articulated parts back on. The front skirts move out the way really easily, and there is an actual holster for the actual pistols themselves, and they don't even get in the way for the actual leg articulation. Which of course, well, what can I say? The leg articulation is pretty good when it comes to just the armor itself. Doesn't really get in the way of anything because it's got such a streamlined design on like the thigh area and everything around that. So I feel what you're gonna get is really good. So in terms of the actual leg articulation, you do have the dropping mechanism as I mentioned, and the kicks out to the front and to the back are really good due to this. But the sort of sponginess of the joints may sometimes be a bit funny. Now the backpack itself is actually a really cool feature that the Vidar has. And the winglets on the side can actually articulate as well, because they have 2 ball joints, one connected to the backpack and one actually connected to the actual fins themselves. So you're able to pull it out slightly to actually activate like more of a tilting sort of mechanism for the actual fins, which I find is also really nice for posing. From here, I want to talk about the actual accessories that are included with this kit. Now, the accessories. When it comes to the Vidar, you're going to get the swappable fingers, as you can see, and each one is for a different thing. You've got holding hands for the actual burst saber, and the trigger finger holding hands for the actual rifle and the pistols. The rifle has a magazine included, which is a really cool feature. You've got ejected burst saber blades, the burst saber handle, and the actual dual pistols that the Vidar has. And also included is a 1-to-1 scale version of Vidar himself. If anyone knows the anime, you know his real identity. Now, when it comes to the actual rifle itself, it has a really nice mechanism where you can actually reload it and actually take the magazine in and out of it. At times, this can be a little bit tricky as it does require a little bit of a hard push to get it in. But once it's in, it's not coming out. So I find that to be absolutely amazing. Now, when it comes to the actual pistols, they are also really nice. The pistols don't really do much except for cocking the slide back and forth, and I feel like that's pretty much all you're going to really need. When it comes to actually storing the weapons, I don't know what level of Bandai genius was behind this, because the way that these are stored and just the security of it is amazing. Now, I find it easy to store the pistols if you actually move the front skirts fully out the way, so you can actually slide them fully into the actual socket that holds the pistols in. And once they're in, they are so securely placed that you don't have any chance of really knocking them off, unless you're actually trying to do so. Which, really, it just goes to show how much they care for the design of this kit. Now, actually storing the burst saber, you can connect it to one of the pegs on the actual blades themselves and pull them out, and that's how they pretty much reload. But you could do the mechanism that it's shown that it could do. Now, for the actual beam rifle, it actually has these slots on the scabbard. There's 3 of them where you could store the rifle itself. I prefer to use the actual lower ones, as that gives you more of a clearance than the actual top one, so it doesn't make the arm stick out as much as having it other ways. Now, Vidar, what can I say? It is a very nicely made figure that holds this really cool pose as seen in some of the artworks. My final thoughts on this kit. Absolutely stunning, and a must buy for any Master Grade fan. And I found that this kit has really redefined what Master Grade means to me. With that being said, I just love this kit. Now, I want to thank you guys for coming and watching this video. It has been a difficult video to make for me, unfortunately, due to the fact that my editing software has been a bit buggy, so I do apologize for the delay of the release of this video. And I appreciate you guys sticking around and checking out some of my other videos. Now, it would help me out if you could subscribe or leave a message or just generally share it with your friends. And I hope to see you guys in some of my other videos. I have one more master grade in the works for a review, and it's a really cool one. And from then on, we'll be probably tackling some real grades, and that will be on my channel at a later point. So if you really want to check that stuff out, please feel free to check it out, and I will catch you guys in the next one.